This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
Hello, welcome to CGTN. I'm Pandeng in Beijing. This is a special coverage as China marks 100 years since one of the world's largest youth movements was founded. Celebrations are about to start in the Chinese capital for the centenary of the Communist Youth League. Top leadership, including Chinese President Xi Jinping, will attend the event. Xi Jinping is expected to give a keynote speech and will have live coverage on that. Now let's take a look back in history. Back in the year 1919, the May the 4th movement spurred the spread of Marxism throughout China. 2 years later, the Communist Party of China was founded. The following year, under the party's leadership, the Communist Youth League of China was born. It was first set up in May 1922 as the Chinese Socialist Youth League in Dongyuan in South China's Guangzhou city. On May 5, 1922, the League held its first National Congress with the 25 members who attended, representing 5,000 others from across China back then. According to the League's constitution, it's a mass organization for advancing young people under the leadership of the Communist Party of China. Now, into its 100th year, China's Communist Youth League has vastly grown in numbers. So, data from last year shows the Youth League has nearly 74 million members nationwide. Most of them, or some 44 million, are students. Over 5 million are involved in enterprises. The rest are from urban and rural communities and other social organizations. The Youth League also has 3.7 million organizations under its umbrella. Of these, nearly half are student groups and over 670,000 are enterprises. A new white paper has recorded China's achievements in youth development and looks at how they can contribute to the country's new era development. Cao Bing has more details.
China's young people are playing a key strategic role in the development of both China and the world. That's according to the Central Committee of the Communist Youth League when releasing a white paper dedicated to youth development. Here in my hand is the very first white paper on youth in China released by the country's State Council. Officials say this white paper objectively presents the achievements made since the 18th National Congress of the Communist Party of China, as well as the state of Chinese youth in the new era. At a press conference, an official said that China has been making a lot of progress on youth development since 2016, the same year the country issued medium and long-term plans on the subject. He said this progress means young people can take advantage of the many opportunities being presented in China's new era.
The
new era is the best time for young Chinese people to develop. They have very good conditions and opportunities, and a broader space for growth. Meanwhile, they hold firmer ideals and beliefs. They are healthier, both physically and mentally, and they are very well educated.
Officials also said the new talents and abilities of China's young people can help the country realize its national rejuvenization targets.
Young people in China have both benefited from and are contributing to the country's rapid urbanization. They are the core driving force of urban development and are bringing innovation and creativity to city development. They are also helping to promote both high-quality development and the development of young people in cities.
Meanwhile, the white paper says China will continue to open its doors wider to the outside world, and this can help China's younger generations integrate more broadly with their peers from other countries.
Young people now have more friends to talk and exchange ideas, and they can together paint a beautiful vision of the future. They are getting more confident and have a broad vision of integrating into the world.
Officials say China's young people today have an international outlook on life and are ready to contribute their wisdom, experience, and strength to build a global community with a shared future. Cao Bing, CGTN, Beijing.
For more insights into this occasion, let's talk to Associate Professor Xia Lu from Renmin University of China. Professor, you are an expert in Marxism studies and history of the Communist Party of China. So explain in plain words to our global audience, what role does the Communist Youth League play under the leadership of the CPC and its role in whole Chinese society?
Thank you very much for the question. We have noticed that last year, the Communist Party of China celebrated its 100th anniversary. Actually, this year is the year to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Communist Youth League. And during the revolutionary period and the socialist construction period and the reform period and now the new era, we can say that the youth, the young people, are the very supporters and they are contributors to the great cause of the Chinese Revolution, socialist construction, and other kind of economic construction. So we can say that the Chinese youth, they have contributed largely a great lot to the rejuvenation of Chinese nation and the emancipation of Chinese people. So we can say that it is a very good supporter and very good kind of the major participant of the great Chinese cause.
So, Professor, you're an educator in one of the most prestigious universities in China, Renmin University of China, founded by the Communist Party of China. So, from your personal observation, what role does this Communist Youth League play on campus for those young students?
This is a very good question. Yes, I teach in the university, and most of my students, they were the member of the Communist the Youth League. I would like to argue that they were a very good platform. This Communist Youth League is a very good platform for the younger generations to take participation not only in their let's say the college life, their study, and they got involved in the public life, like participation, like to contribute to the society. So the Communist Youth League offered more opportunities for the younger generations to experience more in a society. It's a very good channel for the younger generation to know Chinese society, what Chinese society is, and what Chinese economy is, what Chinese, the public life is anticipating. All these kind of opportunities are just offered by the Communist Youth League. So it is more of a self-teaching school or self-teaching institution. So the younger generation, the youth, they can get involved in this platform, train themselves, cultivate themselves, develop themselves for the better, for the future kind of task.
So, Professor, as we're talking about this, we're also watching live footage from the Great Hall of the People in Beijing, where the ceremony to mark the centenary of the Communist Youth League is about to start very soon, and Chinese President Xi Jinping will attend and is going to deliver a keynote speech for the event. So, talking about that, we know that President Xi Jinping visited your university, Renmin University of China, ahead of China's Youth Day. That's May the 4th. So what do you make of his speeches and his messages for those young students there?
Yes, well, that's the recent news. Yes, on the 25th of April, President Xi Jinping visited the Renmin University of China. Actually, up until now, we have been, studying and learning the speeches in the kind of the calling for the younger people to contribute more to the social sciences and the philosophy with Chinese characteristics, and also to contribute more to the rejuvenation of Chinese. So, President Xi Jinping, in his speech, he actually focused more on the importance, and he valued more on the contribution, the future, the prospective contribution of the next generation of Chinese, the youth. They are the future elites, and they are the future kind of contributors to the Chinese economy and the development of Chinese society. So we can get the sense that the Communist Party of China and President Xi Jinping, they value the importance, the significance of Chinese younger generation, because they represent represent the most active and the most vital force in the society. Well, they actually represent at least 1/4, 25% of the Chinese population. We could argue that the Chinese population, the entire Chinese population, will take the 20% of the entire world population, and the Chinese younger generation, they represent at least the 20% of the world, the younger generation, the population. So we can say that the Chinese younger generation, Chinese youth, should not only focus on themselves, should not only focus on the personal development. They should look more, they should think more to the development of Chinese nation, but also the entire mankind. So that would be the anticipation or expectation of the President Xi Jinping to the students of Renmin University of China and the Chinese younger generation in general.
Indeed, that's about a big picture, isn't it? But let's talk a little bit more about individual perspectives of China's young people. Again, from your own experience, what about young people's current inspirations, aspirations, and even confusions, maybe?
In my opinion, because in my class, I actually can engage in the younger generation's life every day. Actually, we are all younger generation, to be honest. So I feel that the Chinese younger generation, they are more energetic and they are more down to the earth than their predecessors. That is to say, they have ideas, they are idealistic, they have hopes, they have good hopes for the Chinese future. However, they also, they are familiar with Chinese condition. They are familiar with Chinese, the reality of China. What kind of stages China's economy, or what kind of stages China's society.
Thank you very much, Professor. We will continue this after our live coverage. Now you're watching live footage from the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. The ceremony to mark the centenary of the Communist Youth League is about to start. Chinese President Xi Jinping is now entering the venue along with China's top leadership. And President Xi Jinping is also going to deliver a keynote speech at this very important occasion for China's youth development. You're watching live footage from the Great Hall of the People. Chinese President Xi Jinping is attending a ceremony to mark the centenary of the Communist Youth League of China. So 100 years ago, the Communist Party of China organized this youth league that was first known as the Chinese Socialist Youth League. Its first national congress was held in South China's Guangzhou city in 1922.
Comrades, young friends, the event to mark the 100th anniversary of the founding of the Communist Youth League of China now begins. Please all rise for national anthem. Please be seated. Today, we are gathering here to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the CYLC. With us, we have General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee, Chinese President, Chairman of Central Military Commission, Comrade Xi Jinping. Members of the Standing Committee of the Political Bureau of CPC Central Committee, Comrade Li Keqiang, Li Zhanshu, Wang Yang, Zhao Leji, and Han Zheng. And the conference is also attended by leading comrades of the party and the state in Beijing, members of the Central Military Commission, and leading comrades from various departments of the CPC Central Committee, government on the localities, members and alternate members of the 18th CPC Central Committee in Beijing, responsible member of the National Youth Federation, Students Federation, Youth Workers Committee, Advanced Youth Model, outstanding league members, Grassroots Advanced Youth League organization representative, and youth representative from all walks of life in the capital city. Please allow me to invite Mr. He Junke, the first secretary of the Central Secretariat of CYLC, to speak. Your Excellent General Secretary Xi Jinping, leaders, members of the CYLC, young friends, colleagues, and comrades. Today, we celebrate the 100th anniversary of the CYLC, and General Secretary Xi Jinping will deliver a speech. I believe this is a great honor for the Communist Youth League and also the great honor for all young people in China. 100 years ago, under the CPC's leadership, the CYLC was officially established. Since then, the CYLC organized the young people, and we have never wavered in our commitment to the original aspiration of following the instructions and the guidance of the party, and played a key role to the full as an aid to the party and a reserve force. Young Chinese rose to occasion without fear of death and fought bravely for the country and endured hardship to the build country. And the CYLC has always played a vanguard role in the quest for national rejuvenation. History shows clearly that without the CPC, there would be no ground cause of the Communist Youth League, and the Chinese youth movement would have achieved little. Over the past 100 years, China's youth have unswervingly committed to the original aspiration and pursuit of following the instruction and the guidance of the party. The CYLC has led them to keep on striving with boundless energy and perpetual struggle for the cause of the party and the people. Since the 18th CPC National Congress, General Secretary Xi Jinping cared deeply about members of the CYLC and youth people. Under the guidance of Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, the CYLC has thoroughly studied the key thoughts given by General Secretary Xi on our work, and we focus on our key tasks. We shouldered the political responsibilities and also work on our top priorities, and we have firmly followed the political direction, worked on the key initiatives, conducted reform and innovation, and also practiced self-governance in full and with vigor, and we have maintained and strengthened political advanced and mass nature, and we use our concrete actions to show that if the party calls, the CYLC will act. And the young people love the party and the country, and they are confident and self-reliant. You always can find them at the front line in the poverty alleviation, science and technology innovation, pandemic control, and disaster relief. And they always use their actions to echo the useful vows of pledging to the party to make my country strong. And this is a spirit of youth and vigor. And we should thanks to the party's leadership and leaders' guidance. Now, let us salute to the great, glorious, correct Communist Party of China, and salute to General Secretary Xi Jinping. Currently, the party, the country, are now working on the journey to realize the second centenary goal. And in this new era and in this new journey, the CYLC shouldered glorious mission and also great responsibilities. We are keenly aware that the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation cannot be stopped unless President Xi takes the helm and guides the way forward. So we should fully understand the for awareness, for confidence, and to uphold and to assurance. And we should always walk on the forefront to support and define the core. We are keenly aware that in this important era, as long as people around were united with one heart and one mind with the party and work together with the country and the people, and that the young people can have access to better opportunity for development and a growing stage on which to fulfill their potential. The CYLC should always guide the thoughts and also to help the young generation to grow and prosper and to cultivate the talents who could shoulder the responsibility to realize the national rejuvenation and to help them to showcase their best performance. And we are keenly aware that right now we are in these very different situation with profound changes of a scale unseen in the century together with the COVID-19 pandemic. And these grave challenges make sure that we should stand out and rise to the challenges and follow the party and work together to fight against the difficulties and also to create a new chapter with historic features. And for the CYLC should conduct a self-revolution, hone our skills and find the present of CYLC where it needs the most and rise to the top challenge and make sure that we build a strong team with absolute loyalty, a strong physical and mental strength, and dare to solve the difficulties. Friends, the young heart beat for the party, a new journey is about to embark on after 100-year endeavor. Let us rally more closely around the Party Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, follow the guidance of Xi Jinping's thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, and write a young chapter worthy of the party, the country, the people, and the time, and celebrate the 20th CPC National Congress with outstanding achievements. Thank you. Now, please allow me to invite Secretary, Vice Chairman, and First Secretary of the Secretariat of the All China Federation of Trade Union, Mr. Chen Gang, to deliver speech. Your Excellency, General Secretary Xi Jinping, leaders, members of CPLC, young friends, comrades. As the whole party and people of all ethnic groups in China welcome the upcoming 20th National Congress of the CPC, and the CYLC is celebrating its 100th anniversary. On behalf of the All China Federation of Trade Union, All China Women's Federation, China Federation of Literature and Art, the Chinese Writers Association, China Association for Science and Technology, the All China Federation of Returned Overseas Chinese, and All China Federation of Taiwan Compatriots, and China Disabled Persons Federation, I would like to extend my warm congratulations and sincere greetings to the Youth League organizations at all levels and the members of the League. Over the past 100 years, under the leadership of the CPC, the CYLC consciously assumed a glorious responsibility, worked as an aid to the party and reserve force, and always stick to the fundamental mission to cultivate the talents for the party and educate and guide the youth to stick to their lofty ideals and also strengthen the responsibility and the task. Make sure that we always follow the instructions and the guidance of the party and strive to becoming the one who can realize the national rejuvenation. Closely centering on the central task of the party in each historical period, we have actively played the role as a bridge and link connecting the party with the youth, especially in the new era with Chinese characteristics. We also mobilized the young member of the League to fight in the front line in such areas of poverty alleviation, science and technology breakthroughs, innovation, the mass entrepreneurship, the pandemic prevention and control, and always encourage people to show their best performance. And also we have seen that the young generation shows the vigorous spirit and also become a reliable working force. CYLC and all other people's organizations are the organizations under the leadership of the CPC, and they are also the links between the party, the government, and the walks of life. So we shoulder the responsibilities to do a good job in terms of the mass work. So over the past 100 years, we have established the good relationship and the deep friendship among different organizations. Since the 18th National Congress, trade union, CYLC, Women's Federation, and the other unions work closely with the guidance of Xi Jinping's thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics. We studied in depth to implement the Xi Jinping key instructions on the mass work, and also we make sure that we have maintained and strengthened the work in a political advance and mass nature, and we have constantly opened up new prospects for the party's mass organization work. Going forward, we'll continue to study hard and implement the Xi Jinping key speech and spirit, and unswervingly followed the path of the developing the social and people's organization and do a solid and a good job to the mass work. And we should use the historical achievements of the party and the historical transformation of the party to inspire, educate the mass, and also to let them understand the meaning of the two establishments for awareness, for confidence, and to uphold. So we should continue to consolidate the foundation of the thoughts. And we should also use the second centenary goal of the party as well as the Chinese dream of national rejuvenation to encourage, unite, and mobilize the mass public to make contribution to country's 14th five-year plan, and also to provide their wisdom and strength to the country's development and reform path. And we should also utilize the targeted and practical method and initiative to connect people, to serve the people, and also safeguard their legitimate rights and interests, to improve their living standards and to achieve the common prosperity and let them feel the care and love from the party. Members of the League, young friends and comrades, a country will be full of hope and can look forward to a bright prosperity when its young generation has ideals, abilities, and a strong sense of responsibility. Let us rally more closely around the party central committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, follow the guidance of Xi Jinping's thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, and carry forward the great founding spirit of the party, work hard and forge ahead to build a modern socialist country in all respects and realize the Chinese dream of national rejuvenation. And to celebrate the 20th CPC National Congress with outstanding achievements. With CYLC, we will stay vigorous and wish the Chinese young people pursue your lofty ideals. Thank you. Now, please allow me to give the floor to General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee, Chinese President, Chairman of the Central Military Commission, Comrade Xi Jinping, to deliver the important speech. members of the CYLC, young friends, comrades. Youth means unlimited hopes. And the young generation create a better future. A nation can only prosper if it places hopes on youth and keep it forever. Today, we are gathering here to mark the 100th anniversary of the founding of the Communist Youth League of China. The aim is to inspire and encourage the members of the League to forge ahead on the new journey towards the Chinese dream of national rejuvenation. First of all, on behalf of the Party Central Committee, I would like to extend warm congratulations and sincere greetings to the all members of the CYLC and also the organizations at all levels and cadres. Members of the League, young friends, and comrades. The Chinese nation is an ancient nation enjoying long history and suffering from the vicissitudes. But it is also a young nation with unremitting pursuit of self-renewal and with vigor. Along the 5,000 years of civilization and history, the Chinese nation has always stuck to the tradition that heroes are cultivated from childhood. The new generation will invariably surpass the old. And we always believe that if the youth is strong, the country is strong. The progress made by the youth is also the progress made by the country. And we have always put the hopes on the young generations. The power of youth, the vitality of the youth, the creativity of the youth have always been the driving force to push the Chinese nation going forward, and also have become a mighty force to make China stand among the nations. The fate of young generations has always been closely linked to the time. After 1840 Utopian War, China was gradually reduced to a semi-colonial, semi-feudal society and suffered enormous hardships. The country endured intense humiliation, the people were subject to great pain, and the China civilization was plunged into darkness. And China's youth gradually came to recognize the mounting national crisis. Generation after generations of people with a vision try to find the way out to save the countries and save the people. And also we have seen large number of the advanced youths enlightened and awake. The May 4th movement was a great enlightenment and a new cultural movement of disseminating new thought, new culture, and new knowledge, and also opened the chapter of the new democratic revolution in China, and also to make the Chinese youth as the vanguard in terms of promoting the transformation in China. As the Chinese people and the Chinese youth awaken and spreading, we have seen the increasing revolution have happened in China. As the Chinese people and the Chinese nation were undergoing a great awakening, and Marxism-Leninism was becoming closely integrated with the Chinese workers' movement, the Communist Party of China was born. Once this party was born, it turned its focus to the young generation and placed hope on them. The First Party's National Congress specifically studied the issues regarding establishing and developing the Youth League to become the candidate for the party. May 6, 1922, under the direct care and guidance of the CPC, the Communist Youth League of China was officially established, which is with milestone significance in the history of China's history, China's revolutionary history, and youth movement history. Unswervingly following the party and the fighting together with the party and the people was always the original aspiration of the League over the past 100 years. With the strong leadership of the party, the League always remained true to their original aspiration and also keep in mind their mission. And we could always find them working on the front line, organize and lead generation of the young people to stay firmly to the brave and follow the party and to strive for gaining national independence, liberating people, and realizing the prosperity of the country, to make the people live in a happy life. And they have written a youth chapter in the journey of national rejuvenation. During the New Democratic Revolution, the League had promoted the Marxism, using the advanced idea to awake the young generation, uniting the force and organize them to involve in the workers' movement, peasant movement, student movement, to against pluralism and feudalism, and also to join the war with the party to save the country and to overthrow the old regime and to show that they fought bravely without fear of death, and also they always show their braveness to save the country. The mass youth generations always show their loyalty to the party, and they have withstood the test of life and death, and have made the great contribution of their youth, and also established the great feats to the country's victory of revolution. And during the socialist revolution and the country's building period, the CVLC has participated the most widespreading and profound social transformation in China. They have organized the different teams to conduct the activities, to learn from the best examples, and organize the members of the League to show their brave that they were strong enough to change the old days with the new ones, and also they have their role to devoted their youth to the country, and you could find they always rise to the challenge, and they also took the most difficult task in the field such as science and the untapped places, and they showed their spirit with hard work. The youth members always take the challenges and also assume the responsibilities, and you could always find a flag of the CYLC where it needed, and also you could find the hard-working people from the league. They have made great contribution to the country's development. In the period of reform and opening up and the socialist modernization drive period, the CYLC adapted to the strategic transfer of the party and the country. They liberated their thoughts and always pursued the new ideas, and they have conducted the various campaigns to carry forward the true traditions, and they also conduct hope projects and also organize the volunteer groups to protect the Mother's River and others very creative activities with a very strong label of youth. They have also organized and also together with the member of the league to make the strong and loud voice to unite together and make our country strong. And they are now working on the front line to build our country as a modern socialist one. And they always brave and bold and to lead the strive towards the new future. And they also become the vanguard force to tap the potential and also to contribute their youth and make great contribution in the country's reform and opening drive as well as socialist modernization building. In the new era, with the socialist characteristics of China, the CYLC has actively devoted itself into the great cause, great projects, a great fight, and a great dream of China. They have stuck to the principle of preserving the tradition and making new progress, marching forward to conduct a self-revolution and reform, and also work with the mass member of the league to fight hard in the field of poverty alleviation and also make breakthroughs in science and technology, and also bravely saving people in disaster relief, and also to go against the difficulties in the pandemic containment. And also we have seen that their great performance in the Olympic field, and they also protect our country and guard the safety of our country. And when the country and the people need them, they always take the challenge, take the mission, and also to show the spirit that you can fully trust them and they are self-resilient. The pure love is only to the country. This is the strong voice from the current young generations in China. Great dream and great mission. and also the responsibility assumed voluntarily by the CYLC members. They worked at the grassroots and also to let them shine in the journey to realize the Chinese dream of national rejuvenation. And also they make contribution and devoted their youth to the historical achievements and the historic transformation of the party and the country. Different time with different features, but the youth always stick to the same mission over the past 100 years. The CYLC has always worked together with the party with one mind and one heart, and organize the members to write loyalty on the course of the party and the people, and also work hard to devote their youth on the journey to realize the national rejuvenation and engrave glory in the annals of history. History and practice fully demonstrates that the CYLC is worthy of being the vanguard of China's youth movement, and being the loyal aid to the party and a reliable reserve force. Members of CYLC, young friends, comrades, the further you go, the higher you climb up, the better you are drawing wisdom on the way you traveled, and to boost confidence and to inject more energy over the past 100 years. The CYLC always stick to this ideal and also to draw a very good and precious experience. I believe this is also the key reference to get the CYLC to moving forward. The 100-year journey to make the CYLC be formed in its convictions, which are fundamental to its success. If there is no CPC, if there is no Communist Party of China, there is no CYLC. On the very first day of CYLC, we always stick to the flag of the party, the willing of the party, the mission of the party, and also to bring the party's leadership deeply into its DNA, and has formed a fundamental characteristics and distinct feature of CYLC as different from other youth organizations. To follow the guidance of the party has always been the political life of the CYLC. And if the party has called, then the CYLC will react. And this is always the firm political belief of the generations of youth members. And the history demonstrates that only stick to the party's leadership can CYLC unite and lead the young generations to move forward and promote the youth movement along the correct political direction. A 100-year journey built the political essence of the ideals that the CYLC stick to. The CYLC united young generation together under the inspiration of the ideal belief and following the sense. At the first CPC National Congress, it already made it very clear that a great ideal to build a socialist country, a communist country, and we should have a clear flag, and also should be a beacon of hope for the young generations. I believe this is a fundamental of the CVLC. The history shows once again that as long as we uphold the banner and the flag of the communism and socialism, can CYLC build the unbreakable team with the strongest fighting force, and also always can unite the young generation under the flag and convictions of the party. 100 years journey has also become a fighting force for the CVLC to devote itself into the country's rejuvenation. The party's main fighting theme is the action direction for the League, centering to the different historical mission. The League organized and led the members of the League to devote it in the different initiatives, and also to take the vanguard role to make their contribution to the country, and also to make the national rejuvenation as one of the main themes of the China's youth movement. History has fully demonstrated that as long as we stick firmly to the theme of fighting for the national rejuvenation, the CYLC can organize all the possible strands that can organize, and also to sing the youth song. Over the past 100 years, the CYLC has also found its source of energy to deeply rooted in the mass of young generation. The CYLC can celebrate its 100th anniversary, should give the credit to its endeavor to make it deeply into the mass population of the young generation, and has always connected its heart and faith with the young generation, as well as the workers, the farmers, and also to work with the party with one heart. The history has proved once again that only taking the nutrient and energy from a fertile land built by the young generation, can CYLC win the trust of the young generation and become the reliable friend next to them.
共青团员们、青年朋友们、
Members of the CYLC, young friends and comrades, under the strong leadership of the CBC, a people of all ethnic groups work together to successfully realize the first centenary goal, and to realize and build a well-being society. And right now we're embarking on the journey towards the second centenary goal, to realize and build the country as a modern socialist country in full aspects. To realize the Chinese dream is a historic race. The current young generations should always showcase their best performance in this race. Time always to place the heavy responsibilities on young generations. I believe this is also the advanced stage provided for the young generations to showcase their skills, and they have a bright future to realize their lofty ideal. At the meeting to celebrate the 100th anniversary of founding the party, and the representative of the League made the youth vow, pledging to the party to make my country strong. We believe that this is something that should be shown, and the outlook of the young generation of China. I believe this is also the spirit of the young generation of the party. On the new journey, how to better organize, unite, and mobilize the youth to realize the second centenary goal and to fight to realize the Chinese dream of national rejuvenation is the key questions must be answered by the people working for the China's youth movement and youth work. So the CVLC should strengthen its capability to lead, organize, and serve the young generation, and also to organize the young generation to pursue their ideal, and they also be capable to shoulder the responsibility and also work hard to rise up to the difficulties and use their power and in the creativities to build a new China and to realize national rejuvenation. Therefore, here I would like to give some hopes to the CVLC. First, stick to the principles to cultivate talents for the party and should always pursue yourself as the political school to guide and lead the progress of the Chinese generation in its ideology. Dream far and aim high is the way going forward. I believe that the young generation should stick to your lofty ideal and convictions. And we use the communists in the name of the party, and we hope that the organization of the party, the scientific theory of the party, and the original aspiration of the party, and the glory flag of the party, and also the good conduct of the party to inspire, organize, equip, and guide the young generation for prosper and growth. The young generation in the new era is more confident and self-reliant, and they have really brave thoughts. But sometimes they also struggled in their ideals and the realities, and they also found difficulties to choose their personal interests or the larger interest for greater good, or they found difficulties to find the solutions to deal with the relations of the nation and the world. So the CYLC should come in to give more education and guidance, and also use the insight you gained from the previous journey, and also cool-headed to help the young generation to think about their life and use the power of wisdom to create a future. As the school for the Chinese socialism characteristics and also the Communist Party, the CVLC should help the young generation to build up their aspiration at an early time, and also let them trust the party, and also to show the confidence to the socialism with Chinese characteristics, and also have a belief in Marxism, and also to always stick to the fundamental mission of cultivating the young generation and also the construction of the country and the party. And also you should always let them feel more comfortable and be proud of being Chinese, and also to hone their skills in the practice, so a good tradition of the revolution can pass generation by generations. Second, assume responsibility voluntarily is the avant-garde force for the Chinese youth with perpetual struggle. Struggle is the bright color for the youth, and actions is the way to put that color into a bigger picture. The youth should shoulder your responsibility and perform your task. And also these group of people always with a passionate to make something new, because they have a strong capability of creativity. The cause of the party and the people also rely on the contribution and efforts made by the young generations. As long as the youth work closely in the same direction as the cause of the party and the people, that the youth can get more access to a vaster place to develop and prosper, and also their strengths and energy have the place to release. I believe that the young generation is the pace setter of the new era, and they also listen to the party and follow the guidance of the party, and always shoulder the responsibility of the mission, and also bring the national cause and the greater good in their mind, and always the dream chaser to realize the great cause of the party and the country, and also to realize their lofty ideals, and also to shine brightly in the place where the country and the people need them. Third, always put the young generations into the mind. I believe that this is the unbreakable linkage between the party and the young generation. The CYLC is the organization under the leadership of the party, but that is also the organization of the youth themselves. The biggest strength of the league is that they have a wide coverage at the grassroots, and they just next to the shoulder of the young generations. So we should always stick to the political responsibility of the consolidating and expanding the mass population foundation of the party, and we should bring the love and care of the party to the young generation, and also we should bring the same thing from the young generation to the party. And also we use different ways to solve the concerns that trouble the young generations, and also provide the help to solve their concerns or urgent needs, and let them feel that the party can help them, and they feel the warmth and the care in front of them. Fourth, be brave to conduct self-revolution and make the CYLC as the advanced organization, follow the party, and also walk on the front line of the time. For CYLC, what kind of young organizations it want to build, and how to build it as the fundamental questions. And you cannot use the old ways in the new era, and also you cannot always stick to the unchanged methods to solve all issues. The CYLC should be brave enough to conduct self-revolution, and also keep abreast with the time, and also to keep on the same page with the young generation's development. And also the CYLC should also on the path of developing the mass organization with Chinese characteristics, and also focus on strengthening its political advance and mass nature, and also promote the revolution in vertical development. And also they should understand from A to Z the development of the young generation, and they also know exactly the way of living of the young generation, especially the new changes and new features of the young generation, and also to explore the establishing thoughts and moves in the new era to organize the league, and also to promote the patriotism, and also to work with the other organizations to stick to the flag of the socialism, to consolidate and expand the united line of patriotism, and also should always practice self-governance in full and with vigor, and also use innovation spirit to let the CVLC always stay positive, and also showcase the vigor spirit of the new era. All the things in our life should be done by ourselves. Pursuing progress is the character and cherished by the young generation, and also the hope laid on the young generation. The members of the League in the new era should be the good examples with lofty ideals and firm convictions, and to learn the Marxism, and also to establish the ideal of the communism, and also the ideal of the socialism with Chinese characteristics. They should also practice the core value of the socialism, and also promote the patriotism. And they should work hard and make progress in an innovative manner, and also stick to their post to hone their skills, and also try to be the best one in their industry, and also to be the best example, and also to bring the energy to influence others. And they should be the one to lead the team up to the challenges and to overcome the difficulties. They always should believe that nothing could stop them from going forward. And they also should be the model for making selfless contribution, and they should also be the one that make hard work before everyone else and enjoy the happiness of the last person. And they also should be the screw and always working unstoppably, and also they should stay positive and also be a good person and follow the laws and the regulations, and also practice their responsibility as a member of the League. And a member of the League should earnestly receive the political training, and to further temper their political skills, and also pursue progress in policy, and also stay closer to the party, and also make the goal and the glory as a qualified party member. The League cadre always promote the good tradition of the League, and also earnestly implement their responsibility and made a great contribution to the work of the party in terms of youth. And the cadre of the League should always keep their quality, and to show their loyalty to the party, and also to show their spirit of a great lofty ideal, and also to stay strong and also be positive, and also to be next to the young generation, become their friends, and also don't put yourself at a higher stand as the leader of the young generation. You should always think about the solutions for the young generation instead of seeking the personal interest, and should always cultivate your working conduct, which is to make more concrete actions and things to the young generation, and to speak less and do more, and also rise to the challenges and work in a hard environment. And also you should make your food solidly stand on the ground to make concrete results in your work. And also you should have a really good moral practice, and also always practice yourself with the good quality of perseverance and also self-control, and make sure that you are a great person. Members of the League, young friends, comrades. Revolutionary people are always stay young. The Communist Party always push its aim to realize the goal of the centenary. Right now is still the golden time for the party. Lenin once said that we are a future party, and the future belongs to the young generation. We are the party for the revolutionaries. But the young generation is willing to follow the revolutionaries. We are the party to fight against the old thoughts and things. The young generations who were the ones who devoted themselves in this fact. History and practice have always demonstrated that the Communist Party is always the one to keep the youth feature, and is always the party that should be trusted and can be trusted by the young generation. On the journey to realize the national rejuvenation, the Communist Party is the vanguard team. The CYLC is the attacking team, and also the pioneer team is the preparation team. So to first enter to the pioneer team, and then to the CYLC, and then finally to become a member of the party. The Communist Party always opened its door to the young generation and warmly welcome the young generation to become a new energy injected to the party. And the CYLC should do a good job in leading the education of political responsibility, and also to make sure that we cultivate the best ones to join the youth pioneer team, and then to join the youth team, and then to join the party. I believe this is a connecting flow to promote and cultivate the talent at the levels of party, league, and the pioneer team. And we should also to focus on the cultivating and developing the young member of the party, and make sure that the revolutionary DNA can hurry forward. Li Dazhao once said, the young generation is the essence and soul of the country. No matter in the past or in the present, and the youth work is always one of the strategic tasks for the party. And the members of the party at all levels should understand the growing pattern of the young generation, and also understand the future of young generations. Devote your energy and time to do a good job to the youth work, and also become the friends to the young generation, and also become the road guider for the young generation. And for the party organization at different levels should also implement the party-led institutes and also studied the key issues concerned the CYLC, and also to show the care and also to have a higher standard on the work of the clergy. Members of the CYLC, young friends, and the comrades. 2,000 more years ago, Confucius said, the young generations with stronger capabilities, why they cannot surpassing the old. To the party and the country, young generation is the most loved ones and with high expectations. Right now, you are like a little tree, but one day you will become a big tree and grow stronger. The young generation accumulates the energy, and one day they will bring that energy to the countries in every corner, and the expectation and hope of the party and the country and trust on the young generation. In 1937, Comrade Mao Zedong, when it had the word for the North Xi'an public school, said that to cultivate a group of people should be the one as the vanguard of the revolution, and they should with the political foreseeing, and they should have the spirit of fighting and making sacrifice. They are the ones to be loyal and stay positive and justice. They're not seeking a personal gain. The only thing they're looking for is to liberate the nation and society. These group of people do not bend their knees in front of the difficulties. They always march forward bravely. These group of people, they are not the one and want all the spotlights on them. They are the ones to put their foot solidly on the ground and make concrete results. In China, we should have a group of the vanguard forces like the group we described, and the mission of revolution in China can be successfully resolved. Today, the party and the people also need a large number of these kind of the pioneering people. And the Party Central Committee sincerely hope that the CYLC can cultivate a large number of these kind of people with such qualities. This is the expectation from the party, and also the expectations from the country and the people. Comrades, young friends, just now, General Secretary Xi Jinping delivered a very important speech. In the speech, he reviewed fully a journey in the past 100 years. The CYLC unswervingly listened to the guidance and instructions of the party, highly affirmed that under the party leadership, the CYLC organized and led generations of its young members to realize the Chinese dream of the national rejuvenation, and also deeply elaborated the historical experience of the CYLC and work regarding young generations and also give high expectations to the current young generations. And that's also a specific requirement on our work. The key words from General Secretary Xi Jinping also shows a great care of the Party Central Committee and also the touch importance to the development of the CYLC with very strong political, ideological, strategic, and guiding nature. Please study it in more details. Comrades, let's rally closer to the Party Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, follow the guidance of Xi Jinping's thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, and also carry forward the A2 establishment for awareness, for confidence, and to uphold. Please always remember the expectations from General Secretary Xi Jinping and work hard and forge ahead with perpetual struggle, and also to welcome the opening of the 20th CPC National Congress with outstanding achievements, and also to make contributions to realize the socialism in full aspects, and also to realize the national rejuvenation. And this is the end of the celebration.
There was a ceremony marking the centenary of the Communist Youth League of China at Great Hall of the People in the Chinese capital, Beijing. General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee, Xi Jinping, delivered a keynote speech. In that speech, he looked back at the history of the League, highly praised the achievements made by the League in the past 100 years, and also raised tasks and hopes for the League in the new era and even for the future of the nation. Now, for more insight, let's talk to Associate Professor Xia Lu from Renmin University of China. So how about we look ahead a little bit, Professor? In his keynote speech, General Secretary Xi Jinping raised three major tasks for the Communist Youth League in the future. That's enhancing capabilities in both leadership, organization, and service. What do you make of these three major tasks?
Well, thank you very much for the question. Actually, after listening to the keynote speech, this is also the key word I just grasped from the future, let's say, the task of the younger generation, the CYLC. So we can see that in today's celebration, the mass organization all come to the celebration to extend the to the congratulation to the 100th anniversary of the CYLC. That's the mass organization. So we can say that this mass organization, including the CYLC and All China Women's Organization and All China Trade Union, these are the links, these are the channels, to connect the party, connect the vanguard and the rest of the ordinary people of China. So we can say that this mass organization, including the CYLC, their main task is still to unite all the people to come around with the Communist Party of China, and also they should focus on the service. They should serve the people. They should, let's say, concern the future of the people. They should concern the daily life, the need of the people. Like the CYLC, they should know the new features of the younger generation. They should be familiar with the information that the younger generation know. So that would be the opportunity. That would be the task for the future. And also the capability, yes, to enhance the capability to serve the people, to aid, to provide more aid to the CPC. That's also the main task, because without capability, you only have idea, then you cannot make all the concrete thing realized. So that would be the challenge for the future, and that would be the main task for the future.
Yeah, talking about that, General Secretary Xi Jinping said in his keynote speech that the Communist Youth League should take responsibility and pioneer the organization of China's youth in the future. Now let's take a listen.
只有当青春同党和人民事业高度契合时，
Only when the youth is highly aligned with the cause of the party and the people can the spectrum of youth be broader and the energy of youth be fully unleashed. Young people are the most energetic and daring, and they are less conservative, which gives them infinite power to transform the objective world and promote social progress.
Professor, let's remember all those words, all those tasks raised by General Secretary Xi Jinping are in the context of a new era. So what would you say is the main requirement from the new era for Chinese youth?
Well, they should actually, follow their predecessors' kind of contribution to the revolution, to the socialist construction, and to the reform. That is to, combine their energy, combine their aspiration, combine their hope with their ability to. They should always align their kind of contribution to the great cause of the Chinese nation. For example, the rejuvenation of Chinese nation. For example, the building of a moderately prosperous society. So that's to say, all Chinese youth, all Chinese younger generation, they shouldn't only focus on their personal interests. They should focus on the great cause of the Chinese nation. They should have a bigger perspective. They should have a bigger vision. With this being said, their task is to know the society, know the country, or to know the world more, to get more familiar with the reality. So that's their task and the challenge, I would like to say.
Indeed, and also General Secretary Xi Jinping says the Communist Youth League should be a bridge between the Communist Party of China and young people in China. Take a listen.
共青团是党领导的群团组织。
The Communist Youth League is a mass organization under the leadership of the Communist Party of China. It is also an organization of the young people themselves. The league's biggest advantage lies in its presence at the grassroots level and its deep involvement with young people. The league should serve the youth and not only tell the party about the condition of the youth, but also convey the condition of the party to the youth. The league should do everything possible to solve practical problems for young people. The kind of youth organization to build and how to build the organization is a major issue for the league.
Now, Professor, hearing the words from General Secretary Xi Jinping, earlier you mentioned that, of course, the Communist Youth League is a mass organization, but let's also remember that it has been a major aid to the Communist Party of China, as characterized by Xi Jinping, and also a main backup force for the CPC. How do you interpret the relationship between these two roles, if you will?
Well, that's a very good question. The relationship between these two organizations, between the party and the CYLC, actually we should have we can have a metaphor to describe the relation. It's more like the CPC is in the center, is the core, and all the other mass organizations, including CYLC, including All China Women Organization, including All China Trade Union, they were just the sub-level organization. They have their specialized, let's say, group of people they should be connected with, they should focus on. So they, let's say, channel what the party need to their targeted people or targeted a group of people, and then they just generalize or they just get information from the targeted people and give the party what this group of people need and hope. So that's a bridge, that's a link of this relation. And the other is that the CYLC is also the vanguard of Chinese younger generation. So they should represent the good or the better or the best example of the younger generation, and they should channel what the party kind of needs to the younger generation. So this is a very dynamic relationship and organic relationship. This is always marching forward, and it is more of a kind of a generalized information and to channel the order, and then to serve the targeted people, the targeted kind of a group of people.
Well, Professor Xia Lu, we'll be getting back to you very soon on this. Staying with the topic, young people in China have been contributing where they can in almost every aspect of China's development. Kevin Taylor has more details.
Over 2 years ago, the COVID-19 pandemic broke out in central China's Hubei province. More than 5.5 million young people worked together to battle the spread of COVID. Of the 29,000 nurses that came to help the struggling province, 90% were in their 20s and 30s.
Our elders have been protecting us and providing us with a safe environment to grow up in. But when they get sick, it's up to us, the younger generations, to protect them.
This April saw a major COVID outbreak in Shanghai. And again, it was down to the younger generation of medical workers to combat the Omicron variant.
I'm a doctor at the Department of Respiratory Medicine, and I'm also a member of the Communist Party of China. I think some of my past experiences will help me protect my hometown.
By the end of 2020, China registered over 500,000 village officials who were college graduates. And the country recognized their efforts towards national poverty alleviation and rural vitalization. At the age of 32, Zhang Leying decided to leave the city life behind and return to her hometown. There, she trained many locals in advanced farming techniques and promoted the use of mechanized tools when cultivating crops. Last year, she was elected as the CPC branch secretary of her village.
We try to figure out if there's a way that manual labor can be replaced by machines. Well, here.
And when it comes to innovation, China's younger generations are yet again making a considerable impact. Several groundbreaking Chinese programs, such as the Beidou navigation satellite system, the quantum science satellite Mozi, and the 500-meter aperture spherical telescope FAST, wouldn't have been possible without the huge efforts made by China's youth. Huang Zhen is an engineer at China's space program, and according to him, being young is a crucial advantage in the scientific and tech fields.
Being young is a feature of our aerospace team. We are willing to take risks, and we dare to do things that no one has done before. We have lots of new ideas, and from time to time, we turn these ideas and dreams into something real.
China's youth have made their mark in the sports field as well. 2022's Beijing Winter Olympics saw a sharp uptick in those partaking in winter sports across the country, mainly those aged 18 to 30, and with a participation rate of over 37%. And according to Chinese social media platform Weibo, Winter Olympics medalists such as snowboarder Su Yiming, freeskier Eileen Gu, and short-track speed skater Ren Ziwei have become the latest sport idols for China's younger generations. Kevin Taylor, CGTN.
In his keynote speech, General Secretary Xi Jinping has highly praised the vanguard role the Chinese youth has been playing on many front lines of the country's endeavors. Fighting the pandemic is one of the most recent one. And for more on that, let's cross live to our reporter Wang Suwen in Shanghai. Suwen, we know that Shanghai has been fighting its worst outbreak for months now. Tell us a little bit more about young people's role in this tough fight.
Hi, Pandong. Yes, as you mentioned, Shanghai has been facing its worst COVID outbreak to date. And for the past 2 months, tens of thousands of people work on the front lines to fight the virus. Well, being in Shanghai over this period, I have interviewed people from many walks of life. For example, migrant workers, community staff, delivery riders, and so on. Well, it's worth mentioning that many of these volunteers I've seen at this time are college students. Well, earlier I interviewed a volunteer group called Shanghai Defenders. They have over 200 students who have set up online helping platforms. Well, they told me they have received thousands of requests, and most of the urgent ones are calling for assistance in buying medicines. They have been helping those people for buying those medicines. Well, they work with the information they collect and the corresponding channels available to them, and they also do what they can, and those students work over 15 hours a day and attending phone calls and meeting their virus needs. At the same time, some of the students still need to take online classes. Well, those volunteer groups are not the only ones in the city. Well, yesterday I interviewed a 22-year-old vlogger and who decided to be a building manager and documented her life. And her videos has gained her millions of views on the platform Bilibili during this process. And let's hear more about her story.
Millions of views, thousands of comments. They're all for content on the college girls' vlog about becoming a building manager and helping residents during Shanghai's citywide quarantine.
主要工作就是发抗原，然后就是做核酸的时候，你要组织大家下来， 然后还有就是发物资，这是主要的体力劳动。然后线上的那就是跟居委会沟通。
The freshness faded away quickly. She tells me getting things done are not easy. Sometimes things get complicated when some residents are reluctant to cooperate, and sometimes things pile up.
除了就是那个时候刚开始当楼长当了一段时间，然后就是各种事不顺心，居委会也觉得我做事就不行，然后就各种负面的事累积在一起，就爆发了。
But La Hong persisted in her work and in recording her life. Her 3 episodes of serving as a building manager have racked up some 15 million views on the Chinese video streaming platform, Bilibili. The 22-year-old was one of the site's top uploaders in 2019, where she already has 2.8 million followers.
我拍视频已经拍了5、6年了，这只是我日常生活里的。这就是我日常生活的一部分，因为我比较喜欢记录自己的生活。然后这一次就是让我有机会接触到了各式各样的人，每个人的想法都是不一样的，可能更多的要学会去做到尊重和理解，就是那种共存。
Based on what she's learned so far, she says she's hoping to do more as a building manager.
我觉得算到了一个很瓶颈的时期了，所以我有在想办法搞点娱乐活动，不然真的很难受，一直不能出小区。
With more trust from her neighbors and more praise from her viewers, La Hong says she's learned that there are more gains from stepping up to help out. Wang Suwen, CGTN, Shanghai.
Well, from this end, we can see that volunteer groups like Shanghai Defenders and personalities like La Hong are prime examples of China's youth amid this difficult time. Pandang.
Thank you very much, our reporter Wang Suwen in Shanghai. Now let's go back to Associate Professor Xia Lu. So, Professor, we've touched upon quite some vanguard roles played by China's youth on the front lines of the country's endeavors. So how about the front line you've been working on, that is China's innovation in its philosophy, theory, humanities, social sciences, maybe, that is crucial to China's own interpretation of its history and future, and maybe another task that concerns both you and me, that is the construction of the China discourse.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much for this question. This is what I exactly wanted to contribute to this show, is that, well, just follow up your question before the President Xi Jinping speech. Actually, on the 25th of April, President Xi Jinping visited the Renmin University of China, and he actually, calling for raised the high requirement for the Chinese philosophers and social scientists, to concern more about or to face more about the China's own question, to connect, the outside theory with China's own question, not just the China case, to support or to not support the other kind of the scientist theory. So that is the future task of Chinese philosopher and social scientist. That is to say, to tell more about Chinese own history, tell more about Chinese own story, and focus more on Chinese own experience and try to generalize this experience into Chinese own theory. So that would be the future contribution of our generation.
Thank you very much, Associate Professor Xia Lu from Renmin University of China. And that's it for this edition of our special coverage on the centenary of the Communist Youth League of China. I'm Pandong in Beijing. Stay tuned.